Okay, so good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Elmwood School. This morning we have returning families and also new families on the call, and hopefully maybe even some of the girls who are looking forward to coming back. I am absolutely thrilled to be welcoming you today, and excited to be starting this very different year. Just looking at the pictures in front of us of the girls on the field, things are going to look a little different this year, but one thing that won't change is the smiles and the excitement that I know that the girls will have coming back to school. I want to start by saying a massive thank you to our community. You have been utterly exceptional as parents, as supporting members of Elmwood. Over the summer and last year when we switched online, I couldn't have been more grateful for the support you gave the school, the collaboration that you provided us with, and also just the good messages. As a community, we couldn't have asked for more. As a family, it has been a wonderful journey. The summer has been filled with information and news and changes and all things that have been coming forward. And we've been communicating with you throughout the summer. And our team have been here all summer, making sure that we're ready to start safely. But most importantly for us as leaders in the school is that your daughters are going to come back to a place which is Elmwood. It will still have the same values, which I'll talk to in a minute. But most importantly, we are creating an environment for your daughters to have fun, to be connected again, and to enjoy their learning. Most importantly, these young people in our lives, and I talk about my daughter as well, who's going into grade 2, they need these connections with their friends, with their age group, and they need these connections in a learning context. So most of all, we're incredibly excited about getting back to that in a very safe way. Our plan, you will have read, some of you may have read the 74-page document, others may have read just the overview. But if you have, you'll know that we have covered everything that we can to make sure that this school is ready and safe, but with the very important condition that we're still a school. We're a school that values learning, we're a school that values collaboration, we're a school that values these kids having fun, and that's very important to us. So welcome back. This is not how we would have wanted it to be. Obviously, normally we will have these in person in various different places around the site. But this year is going to look a little different because of the safety requirements. And as a community, it's really, really important that we respect that. And the community isn't just the teachers and the students, it's parents too. Parents this year, your role is different and really important in terms of making sure that your daughters come to school well, making sure that if they're not well, they stay at home, and making sure that we do everything as a community to protect one of each other. A couple of things I do want to cover. I know there's lots of people getting anxious about things like uniform and making sure that we're all perfect for day 1 and day 2. Please, 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 don't make that the thing you worry about. We're starting next week, but we understand that things may not fit. I got my daughter's uniform on yesterday for the first time, and guess what? It didn't fit. So I know that there is going to be some anxiety with that, but please don't be the thing that you worry about. We can fix it in the first few days, and as long as the girls are back in school and with smiles on their faces and ready to learn, that is what we care about. A couple of people have asked about the at-home learning program. We have an excellent program set up for the girls. We are going to be reaching out to families in a personal manner. In the junior school, more than with our middle senior school students, age and stage is going to be different in terms of what the girls are going to be able to do, how they're going to be able to interact. So we're going to reach out personally to families to make sure that we understand the needs of each family and we can accommodate that way. So rather than do a generic whole junior school session on it, we're going to do a much more personalized approach. So please bear with us on that, and we will be reaching out to you individually. As we go through this presentation, please, please, please put your questions in the chat. Our Q&A feature, for some reason, isn't working on the overview slide. So please put any questions you have in the chat, and we will make sure that we have enough time as we move through the presentation to answer those questions. I'm now going to move quite quickly on to welcome Francie Marchand. Most of you will know Francie. Francie is our Director of Health, Safety and Wellness. She is going to run through all of the different safety protocols that the school has implemented. But before she talks, I do want to talk very quickly about our school values. Those of you who have been in the school will understand them and will know what they are. But some of the new families may not have seen them before. So Jennifer, if you could just go back to our values slide. The first one is respect. This is a very important value in the Elmwood community. Respect between teachers and students, respect between parents and community and the school. This value is something that as a community we earned. We don't expect everyone on day one to have 100% respect for everybody, but we do as a community expect everybody to respect people's backgrounds, beliefs, maybe some of the nervousness they have, maybe some of the anxiety they may be feeling. Respect is something that is not just one way, it's both ways. And as a community, that's something we build in our students and we build as a family at Elmwood. Innovation is going to be more important than ever this year. Our teachers have been in all week. They're incredibly excited to welcome your daughters back. And they have been innovating. They have been looking at different solutions, different ways of working in this new environment. And it is a mindset. And it's a thing as a school we've been working on for years. And now more than ever, it's coming to fruition. So innovation is going to be something that not only your daughters experience in the classroom as learners, but it's something as teachers we've been doing a lot of recently. Integrity is something which I believe in personally, deeply, and as a school, I know we do too. We try every day to make sure that the way we act, the way we work, and the way we communicate is filled with integrity. We want to make sure you have the correct information. We want to make sure your daughters take on this value too, and it's something that we'll be working hard on, not only this year, but as we move forward. Responsibility is a big word this year. I was speaking to the staff this week and I've spoken to various parents this week about what that's going to mean. We all have a responsibility to our community right now, to keep the community safe, to make sure that if we're sick as staff that we don't come in, we don't try and push through like maybe we would have had in the past, and to make sure as parents that we don't send our daughters in when they're sick. It is our responsibility as a family to make sure our family's safe this year. So that is a value that is going to be important. Collaboration. Some people have said, well, how are we going to collaborate with the new environment, with the new structures and new systems? Of course, we're going to collaborate. It's such an important part of learning, not only for students, but for staff and for parents too. We have put in place lots of structures and systems using technology and different methods to make sure that that very important part of learning of collaboration and talking to each other and sharing ideas isn't lost. In fact, it's going to be emphasized even more. We are going to be using technology more than ever before, which is exciting. But it's also important to realize that we're not going to lose the ability for people to collaborate in person. We have the safety protocols in place. We have everything we need to do to make sure your daughters are safe. But collaborating and that social connections are so important to the girls. To build on this a little bit now and to talk more about our safety protocols, I'm going to hand over to Francie. As I said, Francie is our Director of Health, Safety and Wellness. And Francie has been working throughout the summer to make sure that we have an exceptional plan to drive us forward. She's been with the school for 23 years. So in terms of understanding our community, there's no one better. Francie, over to you.
Okay, thank you, James. Yes, and so that last slide, the keep calm and stay healthy, that's your job. The worrying part, that's my job. And infection control and chain of infection, I love that. And that is my job, to worry about education and mandating learning environments and informing our staff and our students and training about ways to stay healthy. And that is all being done behind the scenes all summer long, so that our girls will have a safe reintegration into school next week. And I can tell you with 100% confidence that your girls will be coming back into an environment that is by far one of the safest around the country. If I had a little girl starting school, I would be 100% confident that she will come back into an environment that might look a little different. There might be some stickers and arrows on the floor that she might not have noticed before, and she might think, well, those look neat and those are fun. But it's not going to be an environment where she's feeling like everywhere she turns around, there's more COVID-19 reminders, and it's sterile environment, and we don't want to reinforce the worry that she's perhaps been experiencing for the past 6 months. She's going to be happy to be back in the four walls, seeing her teachers, seeing her friends, and the things that we've implemented to keep her safe have been done seamlessly. Ms. Blackadar and I have spent hours walking the building, looking through the eyes of what it would look like as a little girl, making sure that she is safe, and the areas where we can implement barriers and safety systems we've put into place. So I'm going to go through a few of those things, because the 74 page, which is growing daily, because it is a live document, is one of the surface documents. There are many more documents as a school, of course, as you can respect, that we've created to support that document. Our staff has a huge learning curve. One of my staff said last week, I'm so glad that you have that scientific mind to see things in that way, because I don't really view the doorknobs and my office space and the bathroom usage in that way. But I'm glad that you are, and you're teaching us with that lens, because I'm just doing what you're telling us to do. And it was nice to hear that, because our staff has gone through 3 days of training with health and safety protocols as well to get ready for the school year, with everything else that they're doing to get ready for the school year. So the first way to stay healthy, as James said, is a daily assessment tool. And we need your help. We're always a team in the community at Elmwood School with the parents, but this time it's really important that you, with your daughter, of course, age and stage appropriate, that you work with her in every morning, maybe at the breakfast table, is to go through that daily assessment. How is she feeling? There's specific questions, and I'm going to show you in a couple of slides an Elmwood really user-friendly tool we've created that you can just get very used to going systematically through this series of questions. It'll take less than 30 seconds. How is she feeling? And just do that pre-assessment protocol and tool with her on a daily basis. It's something you can use for the whole family as well. Just to ensure that before you come to school, before you get in the car and you're driving here and she says, uh-oh, Dad, Mom, I have that sore throat, and you're doing the turnaround, that you've done it at home. So before even coming to our campus, we know that everyone is healthy and safe. If you have questions about that or concerns, or some of the language is up for interpretation, this is what I'm here for. You can email me, give me a phone call. You're sitting around, the breakfast table, fire me off an email, and I'll help you navigate through that. When you come into school, of course, every one of our classrooms has been cleaned, reorganized, but not, again, in a way that's going to be very visibly noticeable for your daughter, but for us, it's really in a way that's going to help us with our touch point and our enhanced cleaning systems. We have state-of-the-art cleaning routines and machines and safe chemicals that we are using. We are enhancing our cleaning routines as a frequency increase throughout the day, but also our evening facilities team has also been trained with respect to COVID-19 protocols. Our class sizes, of course, as you know, are smaller. They are completely suitable for our distancing protocols that we need to respect as well. And of course, we are trying as much as possible to respect the cohorting and the minimizing of the external contacts that your daughters will be experiencing. So our recess time, of course, play is number one priority, and they will experience fun play interactions and modified schedules going outside. But again, they have their forest time, they have their running track. We will have rotational use of our play structures. But again, these are ever-changing routines with, again, modified cleaning structure. Do they know that we're cleaning our play structure in between their cohort? They don't need to know that. We know that, you can breathe easy on that. Of course, our at-home learning, we've mentioned that, but if your child is sent home, she has a runny nose, she's going home. Of course, now, if she's still well enough, but just needed to be sent home for a COVID symptom, she can continue engaging in her learning, which is an amazing thing to be able to participate in still. Our outdoor learning is by far exceeds what experiences are being able to be experienced at other learning institutions, right? We have different spaces. We have academic spaces, which we've put into our, in the front of our school, in the front of the house, in the basketball court is going to be equipped with a tent and some coverings for some comfort. We have large tarps which we're going to sanitize in between our cohort use. So we have huge different ideas that the girls, of course, are going to be instrumental in helping us use those outdoor learning spaces, because their ideas are way better than the ideas that we could have come up with so far. But we have a team of teachers who've been working just strictly on how to best use our outdoor learning spaces, because we know that outdoors is the best for ventilation for our young girls. But on ventilation, of course, you may or may not be aware, but I know James did put in his communication that I'm so excited. And yes, I get very excited about purification systems. So we have an amazing medical grade air purification systems coming into each one of our classrooms. These systems will be in the corners set up in each classroom, and it will filter completely the air in 15 minutes of every classroom. Not only will it enhance and filter out viruses, bacteria, and other unwanted chemicals, it also increases cognitive functioning. So even without studying, all our girls are going to get like 5% higher in their academic achievements. It's just, you know, an amazing air purification system in the best of times. So that's really exciting. I was saying at the other presentations, I have learned more about HVAC systems, fresh air flushing, water flushing, than I ever needed to know about over these past 6 months. But again, I find that very exciting. The plexiglass and the protective barriers, again, please rest assured. Sometimes parents are like excited that, oh, we have some plexiglass barriers, but then worried about, well, is my daughter going to feel like she's in a fishbowl? Absolutely not. We didn't actually need to do that because our classes have distance, they have fresh air, they have medical grade air purification systems, but we do have flexible protective barrier plexiglass. When the teacher needs it, it can be used for a one-on-one interaction so that the student can see facial expressions and then put away and cleansed when it's not needed. So you will not actually need to see that everyone's behind and rebreathing behind a plexiglass barrier when it's not required. So that is a really positive thing that we're using the plexiglass in a very flexible way when required. So again, our classrooms are distance, but our teachers can move the desks in a way that still maintains physical distancing to change up the collaborative learning environment. All our protocols have been public health driven, and we are exceeding the expectations from the Ministry of Health, Ministry of Ontario, and the public health requirements. We follow occupational health and safety standards and go beyond what they are asking us to do. So again, with respect to contact tracing, if there is a reported incident, I work hand in hand in partnership with Ottawa Public Health. I have a close relationship with many community partners, but public health, very close. I'm actually a public health nurse myself. So the reporting system, I'm quite confident that the systems we have in place for reporting, our teachers have very clear seating plans, contact systems, signing in and signing out. And this is why we really do respect for the short term. We are, as you can imagine, restricting visitors, interactions, field trips, and so on. But again, our whole process is ever evolving. So we're hoping as things change and we open up, we'll be able to adapt what we're offering in our school environment. So that's just a little snapshot of some of the things that we're offering as a safety measures in our school. I'm sure you may have questions for me on a one-on-one with specific individual concerns. And of course, as you know, just a little snapshot of how much I'm talking passionately about this right now. I love to talk about it. So please, you can always contact me via email or telephone, and I'd love to continue on this conversation. I think I have a few more slides with respect to international travel. There have been some inquiries with respect to this because we know we have an international community, and we do travel as well. So we know that the government of Canada specifically has their mandate and their orders, which give us clear instruction as to what quarantine and self-isolation for our travelers who have traveled back perhaps over the summer from another country or for business and so on. If every document that I read, you can never take one bullet out of, in isolation. There's always like the whole document that needs to be read, and sometimes it's helpful to go through those documents with someone else. So if you want ever to go through those documents in consultation with myself, please again feel free. But of course, everyone who has traveled internationally, is say dad has traveled on business and is returning home, the government will be very clear on you need to self-isolate within your home. Self-isolation then of course has very strict guidelines as to what that means within your home environment. Our questionnaire, which is based on Ottawa Public Health questionnaire, every morning says, have you been in contact with someone who's traveled outside of Canada within 14 days? You would answer yes to that. The direction is, have you had close contact with someone who's traveled? Close contact definition means, have you been within 2 meters of that person and they haven't had a mask on? If you then answer yes to close contact, then of course everyone in that family is considered to have needing to self-isolate. But if dad has traveled from afar within 14 days and has respected the self-isolation rules as outlined by the government's regulations, has been in his bedroom, hasn't shared a bathroom, has been, if he had to come out wearing a mask, that's not considered close contact. So there are different steps involved in what these procedures mean. And then of course, the rest of the family can go on their business as normal. But if dad has opted just to self-isolate in the house and go around business as usual, not wearing a mask, then the whole family is considered close contact and need to self-isolate. So again, those little bits, that's my specialty. I can help you navigate that. So please reach out to me. I'm just going to show you the nice user-friendly form. So there's one from Ottawa Public Health, but of course we like our Elmwood. We're going to send this out available for you. I would suggest, and I think if you've been to summer camps or any place over the summer, a lot of places were just suggesting print it off, have it at the kitchen table, and just go through it. And it's like, do you have a cough? Are you feeling unwell? Do you have a scratchy throat? And then the questions. And then your daughter, if your daughter's in grade 4 or 5, she can just have it right there every day and be like, no, 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 no. And then you've done it. Then when you're asked in the morning, have you done your self-screening? Yes, I've done it. And of course, it's empowering, right? The girls love to be in control of what is happening to them. And they're in control of their screening every morning. It's just kind of our new normal. So we're going to be sending that out for you for your convenience. Of course, there's the online tool I think we're familiar with, and we've sent that link as well. So if you have any questions, you can put it in the chat for today or at a later time. So thank you very much.
Francie, that's awesome. Thanks so much. And thank you again for all the work you're continuing to do with this. And now I'm going to hand over to Christine Blackadder, who, as you know, is the Deputy Head of Junior School. Christine, also thank you to you for all the work you've been doing to make sure our timetables, our staffing, and everything is organized for the girls. As you know, Christine loves each and every girl and loves them having fun and being ready for learning. So I want to thank you for all the work you've done to make sure that we're ready. Just a reminder that those questions are coming in and we will answer them at the end for you. Great questions so far, so thanks very much. Over to you, Christine.
Thank you, James. And I also wanted to thank Francie Marchand. I've been working closely with her this summer, and she has done an absolutely fantastic job. She has an incredible wealth of knowledge that we are able to draw on, and it's been absolutely wonderful working with her. So thank you, Francie, for all of your effort this summer. I'm very excited to be here. My only piece is that I really wish I could see all of your faces. And if we have any junior school girls who are there listening as well, I just wanted to say hello and to say that I hope you had a fantastic summer and had had some fun with friends and with your family. And I just can't wait to see you next week. It's going to be very exciting. I did see you online during the spring, and it felt almost the same, but the building is ready to go, and all we need now is you. And to parents as well, it's going to be wonderful welcoming you back. I'm really excited to get back to this new normal this year. If I could just have the next slide. So what I'm going to be doing is getting down to some real practicalities, and there are a couple of changes. I understand that we have a lot of returning families who really know how the school functions, but there are of course going to be a few changes I wanted to go over. And I have been talking to a lot of parents over the summer, and we've had several of these sessions. I just wanted to also remind you, you can reach out to me. The best way to get me is email me. If you have a simple question, I can answer it right away. Typically what also happens is if a parent has a list of quite a few questions, I will phone you, and we can definitely, I appreciate the time to connect, and we can then clarify any questions you have or anything you want to share about your daughter. So this is very practical. We've had this question from a few parents, so I just wanted to clarify for everybody that for our early years program, those girls may come between 8 o'clock and 9 o'clock. That is a free service. It's especially helpful if you have an older daughter in the school, because it means that you can drop them off together. You can also, for those parents, you can arrive at 8:30, you can arrive at 10 to 9. The girls will be outside, and I'm sure most of our kindergarten parents are now familiar from the video sessions we've done, but also the documents that have been sent home. There will be, for pre-kindergarten, there's going to be a screening area outside of the kindergarten yard. As you know, we're a licensed pre-kindergarten, so there are steps from the ministry that are excellent that we will be following very carefully. So pre-kindergarten, your drop-off is to that kindergarten yard. And also for our early years program, you still are able to bring your child in. They're very, very young, and you will still be able to walk them in. So junior kindergarten and senior kindergarten, same thing for you. You can drop off between 8 o'clock and 9 o'clock, and it will be on the Hillcrest side of the building. That's where the girls will be. And we were talking about this because I know there are some concerns because of how young the girls are. They're going to be playing in separate, they will be playing in separate areas for now. JK and SK typically work very closely together with various parts of the program, but we will gradually do that. So one of the things we've been doing in the school is we're starting off with more, far more safety then we may end up with two of the key dates for me in junior school will be 2 weeks into the school year, and then also Thanksgiving, because with everything I've learned with Francie and everything we've implemented, we're going to start off with a lot more, and then we'll gradually look at pieces. So for instance, kindergarten is a very good example. They will be separated for now. We will gradually shift things in terms of outdoor odyssey. They spend a lot of time in forest school, and that's also where social distancing might shift just a little bit as well. This is a big change for our returning parents and our girls. Typically, one of my favorite times during the school day is that early morning period where parents drop their girls off, sometimes linger for a little bit, and the girls play. We have decided for now that the safest way for them to enter the school is to actually come in the building right away. So that is a big change. We are highly encouraging you to drop your daughter off at the drop-off spot in the parking lot. You've seen that communication about sort of kiss and go. Grades 1 to 5, they are certainly independent enough to be able to do that. They actually really like it. I know as a parent sometimes, especially if your daughter's younger, it's a little bit hard, but what they're going to be doing is coming directly into the school building. Myself and Ms. Hanratty are going to be greeting them in the front hall, and we will welcome them. We will do a little a screening for them as they come in, just to check that they have actually done their screening at home with you, and then they will go up to their homeroom. Their homeroom teacher will be there to greet them, and they will settle in from 8 to 8:20. I am waiting for the first junior school student to figure out that means that they're owed recess time, so I've already thought of that, and I've actually, it's just as Ms. Marchand has focused on earlier, I am a firm believer these girls need to run and play and be together outside. Part of the reason you're sending them back to school is for that social fun time. These are kids. So we actually are operating with a longer morning recess from 9:30 until 10 o'clock. And it just gives the girls that little bit of time extra to play. And also we have all of these safety enhancements. So hand washing, logistics with masks, those types of things. So having some extra time will be worth it in all kinds of ways. While I'm on that topic, we are so fortunate because we started this process very early in the summer. Basically, we wrapped up one year and we're right into planning for the next year in a very intensive way. So what occurred to me is, especially for if your daughter is wearing a mask in the younger grades, or if she is in grade 4 and 5, they are required to wear masks. She is going to have to wear that mask down from her classroom and outside. I do highly recommend that she has a break from that mask outside. These are kids, they're going to need a break. What that means is she needs somewhere to put her mask. I spoke to a parent yesterday from our junior school who also happens to be a doctor, and she was telling us about what hospitals are like with this concern. Basically, what you're going to need is some kind of system that works for you and your daughter. It could be a plastic bag in her uniform pocket. I put up a suggestion on Schoology about those lovely zip snack bags that are washable. That's another possibility. You may want to even think about, the original problem is, what does she do with her mask when she goes outside? A plastic container might work as well. But then the other piece is you may probably be sending her with a couple of masks to school. I think it's a good idea that she could change. She probably needs some kind of clever system where there's a place for dirty masks and a place for clean masks. And so think that through with your daughter. You know how she's organized, you know what she can handle. One of the things I have flagged, and it's hard to believe we're at this level of detail, but I think it's a good thing, is that it's possible that if she's choosing to wear the gym uniform, there may not be any pockets. So that's where the container comes in. So it's great to be able to kind of catch you, not quite in person, but virtually, to kind of flag some of these things for you. So one of the things I wanted to flag as well, and most of you are returning parents, you do know, we start school very rapidly, which is a really good thing. Typically, we're into classes by 8:30. The girls are focused on a lesson and focused on learning. So if you can be careful, we all run late once in a while, but we don't want to see the girls missing chunks of time in the morning. And I've structured the timetable. Research shows that having long blocks of academic time in the morning when the girls are fresh is a really good idea. So they are spending a lot of time with their homeroom teacher in the morning and doing some of those core subjects. French is also a core subject, so that's another block that is in the mornings as well. So I just wanted to share that with you. We are going to be having specialists as well. They are tending to be in the afternoon. Okay, I can go to the next slide. All right, so this is another change. Typically what has happened in the past is all of us are continuing to kind of keep dentist appointments going and things like that. If you require an early sign out, it is going to be different. You can, typically what we do is parents email Mrs. Hay, and sometimes the homeroom teacher that they're picking up their daughter, say at 1:20. The change is right now we are not having parents come into the building. I find this difficult. I think you'll find it a challenge too, because we're used to seeing you. But for safety right now, email or call your request in, and what we will do is one of us, so it might be Mrs. Hay, it might be myself, it might be Ms. Hanratty, will walk you to we'll walk your daughter to the front door, or possibly to the parking lot as well. I know some of you have very young children, and sometimes it's actually kind of works out well. You don't necessarily have to bring your baby in to pick up your daughter that's in the school. So I think there'll be some benefits to that one, and we can also sign your daughter out. So legally we can do that as well, as long as we have that visual contact to make sure that you have picked up. So that is a fairly big change. We have implemented a staggered dismissal, And one of the things I wanted to say is that I realize there are parents who have children that are now going to have multiple staggered dismissals. Especially if you're a kindergarten parent, you don't necessarily want to be waiting from 3 o'clock to 3:30 for your daughters. So we can accommodate around you. And again, as James had said about online learning, we can do things to differentiate for your family that way. It is going to be a staggered dismissal. So kindergarten, it's the same piece, 3 o'clock as it has always been. And the teachers will bring your daughters out to you. The change for grades 1 to 3 is they're being released at 3:15. And basically all of this is to reduce the loading in the stairwells and to reduce the loading in the schoolyard as well. Even though we're going to be able to disperse and have good social distancing, it just seemed to be the better thing to do. And then grade 4 and 5 will be released at 3:30. I know that they'll be coming to me saying, but that's 5 more minutes. So our kids are very, very savvy on that. We had a very nice question yesterday from one of the parents who is new, and she said, how am I going to get to know people? How will my daughter make friends? And I realized yesterday that it is, that's a concern for all of us, continuing to keep these connections. We are asking you not to linger in the schoolyard, but I do believe there will be opportunities to make those connections as long as you are socially distanced. I do recommend just to be cautious that all of us are getting used to these masks. If you're having a conversation with a couple of parents, you might want to slip your mask back on. But again, that's sort of a personal choice, but there will be some of those moments at dismissal. We won't be having them in the early morning just because of the change we've had to make. But bottom line, we really need to keep our community safe, but we also want to keep our community functioning well. And we tend to be a very close community, so there will be some of those opportunities. And if I can ask returning families, please be, you're always welcoming, but please look out for those new families coming in. We have some fantastic, great new girls coming into the school. We have wonderful, I think wonderful new friendships that will be made. So I'm very excited about that side, but just know that it's going to be looking a little different. And I'm also very happy, as I said, to answer your questions. Also, as that parent yesterday had pointed out about how do I make those social connections, if you have an idea or a suggestion or something you're thinking about, please send it in, because I find that we're in a high state of preparedness. We are feeling very confident, but we have a very smart, involved parent community with a wide range of experience. So if you happen to think of something where you're like, I wonder what they'll do with their masks when they go outside, would be an example. Please send it along either to the homeroom teacher or right to myself or to Miss Marchand, because we love to hear from you, and we get some really good information from you as well. Okay, so this is just an aerial view of the school. I'm not going to linger here for a very long time. Ms. Irwin-Jackson, would you be able to post this for parents online? Because I think it's one that you're going to want to zoom in on. It's showing the different entrances and exits for the school. So in the morning, grades 1 to 5 are going to be coming in through our main doors. There are going to be, you can see the different drop-offs for our kindergarten grades as well. And you can see also it's been numbered for where we are dismissing to as well. We will organize that further. We actually have really beautiful signs for outside that have been printed up, so you will see that level of organization come to the schoolyard as well. But that's an interesting diagram to have a look at. I think for most of our returning families, you're highly familiar with the schoolyard. We're also very fortunate. I wanted to mention that we have junior school is a lovely new building. We have 2 very airy stairs. We have one set at the back and one set at the front. As you know, the girls will be using those stairwells to go in and out of the building. That's also been structured for them, so we're very fortunate. We also have, it's almost a little bit like a school in British Columbia, because we have multiple exits and entrances on the first floor as well. So for instance, the kindergarten group will be able to use their own entrance and exit. And then in terms of the older girls, we're going to be using those 2 stairwells to make sure that we don't have congestion in the stairwells, because that's a key area as well. Thank you, Jennifer.
No problem. We'll definitely post. I'll post that to Schoology, and I'll also post it to the website on the parent pages. So next slide.
Oh yes, uniform. So there has been a lot of questions about uniform as well. There you're able to see the early years summer uniform that they are coming back in. It is a very comfortable uniform for the girls. They look amazing in it. One of our big questions right now is you can see that she's wearing black shoes, and this is unusual for the school, but I know what it is like purchasing multiple pairs of shoes at this time of year. Black shoes for now are going to be optional. It is another pair of shoes to juggle within the school and juggle for your daughter. I know I've had several parents say they love the finished look of the uniform with the black shoes. I absolutely do as well. But at the moment, with their feet growing so fast, it is an option for you as well. We do need those indoor and outdoor running shoes. That's going to be absolutely critical. But that is in the early years, that's the uniform that they will be coming back to school in. Last year, we made a change to the early years uniform where we have that lovely green polo with the slightly longer sleeves, and they're able to wear black leggings. So it's almost like a tunic and leggings. It is very, very comfortable for your daughters. We've had a lot of positive feedback about it, so much positive feedback that we're actually going to be extending it up to grade 1, because there are parents who and children who really want that option as well. So I know they've been looking in the uniform shop at ordering in some bigger sizes, but for grade 1, that is an option as well. In terms of the summer uniform for grades 1 to 5, again, really comfortable uniform. I really love the girls to be able to move easily and play in a uniform, and it still is a very attractive uniform as well. So that is your option right now. The shoes are the same. You may choose if you want black shoes or not for your daughter. I do recognize as well their feet are growing. Some of you may prefer to have them in a sturdy type of shoe as well. So again, it comes down to personal choice. They also have, which I'm really pleased with, they have the option of wearing their gym uniform as well, which is a big departure for us. But right now, we're just looking at making things comfortable for the girls. And the other piece is slightly easier for parents, because you're going to be doing a lot of laundry. And I think sometimes by Thursday or Friday, you might be out of uniform, and that being able to pull that gym uniform out and pop her in it will be terrific. So Jennifer, have I missed anything key that you would like to add about uniform?
I don't think so. I will say that we have a uniform pickup this afternoon from 1 to 4 and tomorrow from 9 to 12. We've had a tremendous run, as you can imagine, on uniform items, and that coupled with the supply chain issue, we have a couple of shortages, but we're going to be able to get everyone all set up certainly for the first week of school. So I think that's everything. And now we can move on. I'll do the Bistro plan. Chris.
Great.
Great. So the Bistro is a very important and super popular part of the junior school. What you're looking at here is Chef Candace's menu for September of snacks and lunch. We are going to be offering a bit of a modified delivery for the Elmwood Bistro for the first few weeks of school, certainly for September. And that's based on us all just getting used to kind of the new routines with the staggered schedules, the physical distancing requirements. So while we're all getting used to that, we're going to temporarily suspend the a la carte offering. So the a la carte offering was where you'd be able to put an amount of money on your daughter's swipe card, and she'd be able to make some healthy choices for herself and show some independence, which is fantastic, but just a level of complexity that we're going to eliminate for the first few weeks as everyone gets used to these new schedules. So we do have 2 options for the Bistro, and the information for that is online. And the first one is just a 1 month, almost like a trial, if you want your daughter to be on the meal plan, which means she gets these morning and afternoon snacks and these lunch choices every day. You can absolutely do that for the month of September. We also have our full year option if you are ready to commit to the full year. I did have a question in the chat about, what happens if there are at-home learning, going between at-home learning and on-campus learning. The costs for the Bistro are based on kind of a daily amount, so we will be able to prorate if for any reason your daughter has to start with at-home learning or the class has to go into at-home learning. We can definitely accommodate that, so no worries there. Yeah, and all that information is on the parent portal. Let me just skip to the next slide. Matt, over to you, Mr. Pro.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back, and hello to new families. So I'm the Director of Technology here at Elmwood, and just wanted to speak quickly. You would have received a communication this summer asking a little bit about devices and what your daughter has available to her at home as a personal device. Of course, our hope and everyone's hope is that this school year we'll be able to have your daughter in at school all year long without any incidents at all. But at the same time, we think it's super important that we prepare your daughters for any sort of lockdown, be that a breakout in the province where we're required to lock down, or something smaller where a class has to lock down or stay home for a certain amount of time. And so once school starts and we focus on the more important things like our new normal and staying safe, we're going to start to focus on really training your daughters well to independently do a lot of what could be required of them in a lockdown situation, or a situation where they have to spend some more time at home, kind of like in the spring. And our hope is that we'd be able to train in an age and stage appropriate way each of our girls to be as independent as possible. We sent home that survey to find out what sort of access to technology you have at home. And the hope is that we will start asking them to bring their devices, but not on the first day, first week, probably not even on the second week, probably as we start to transition a little later on if they have a device. Of course, there are going to be some girls who don't have a device as well, and that's okay too. We're going to see where we can, how we can support girls who don't have a device by using some of the devices that we normally would have shared at school. Of course, we're not going to be sharing computers or iPads this year between people, because that doesn't make sense in this situation. But maybe we'll have a device that they could use that is designated to one student only in the school. I also want to talk a little bit about Schoology. As you know, Schoology is something that we use to communicate with you and your daughter, and so we'll be training her how to use it. If you're a new family and you're having any trouble signing up for Schoology or have any more questions about that, an email came to you that explains how to sign up, and it has a number of tutorial videos about how we use it here at school. But if you still have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to me and everyone in my tech department at the tech@elmwood.ca email address. That goes to 3 of us in a tech department, and one of us will reach out to you. Thanks very much.
Okay, so I think we're, sorry. James, do you want to take over? I think we've reached the end of our formal presentation, and I know we have questions to answer.
We do. So I think Jennifer's has looked at the questions, and Jennifer Owen Jackson is going to point the questions in the right direction.
Yeah. So I've consolidated the questions together. So let's start with some of the health and safety questions, Francie. If you can unmute yourself and be prepared, I will pepper you with them. We have a couple questions around students that have allergies and allergy symptoms and how we might differentiate those from any kind of COVID symptoms. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yes, okay. I was reading them as well, and sent out to our Todd Bain, you're going to be receiving very, very soon an ability to update your medical forms online through my backpack as parents. So that is an opportunity if there are pre-existing health issues, including seasonal allergies. This year, more important than any other year, it's going to be very important for you to list any pre-existing medical concerns, including seasonal allergies. Because of course, as we know, I don't want to be sending anybody home with a runny nose or conjunctivitis due to environmental allergies because of a mix-up of COVID-19 symptoms. So you will have an opportunity to review your child's information that we have on in our system, and provide that back to us as a school, so that it's easy and convenient for myself if the teacher is concerned, from a sniffly nose, etc. And then we just have a baseline of what's your child's normal. Because I will not be sending home someone who just has seasonal allergies. And that's going to be sent home to all parents very, very soon, he said, as soon as there's a technical issue that he's needing to do year-end rollover, and then parents will have an opportunity to do that, and then you'll be able to send that back to me. So that's the one thing first.
Great. I'll just also add that form that you fill out with the allergies. We had a question about allergies in the meal plan, and that form also goes to the Bistro. We're a nut-free facility, but we can also accommodate allergies for students that are on the meal plan. So all that information is really important. Then maybe Francie also confirming, there's a question around sort of doors being opened and hand sanitizer in every classroom, just confirming that that is the case.
Yeah, so every door that can be, that's not a fire door, including exterior doors in the warm weather, will be propped open to obviously avoid high touch point and the children having to open and close and staff. Hand sanitizer will be readily available at every kind of door frame is our cue, our visual cue. Every door frame will have hand sanitizer. In our smaller grades, the hand sanitizer, if it's not wall mounted and out of reach, it will be teacher controlled just for safety, and disinfectant wipes. And rest assured that our disinfectant wipes are skin safe. We've been in contact with our distributors, and everything is guaranteed to be safe for skin to be touched. I know there was a question, are we expecting the children to do any disinfecting? In the older grades, the 4s and 5s, they are cohorted and they were in their classroom. So when they are in their own classroom, their desks and their chairs, they will be coming and going after recess in their own areas. Their chairs and desks won't be touched by other students. If they should find themselves in a mixed area into a zone, say they get doing a reading program with Miss Eads in a different room one-on-one, those any mixed area, there's a sign in and a sign out to a room, and it always the expectation, adult or older child, that those chairs and those desktops are sanitized. And of course, high touch areas will all be disinfected by our facilities team more frequently, and a second time midday when our children are outside as well during the midday point.
That's great. And also we do have a video online. Francie sent a video about the proper donning and doffing of masks. But Francie, do you just want to talk about, there was a question about storing lanyards or storing masks and whether kids could have them around lanyards when they weren't on. Do you just want to talk about that?
I know they're selling a lot of different ways to handle the masks. Ideally, the mask, when not in use, are in a baggie, because that's the way to keep them the cleanest, especially if the girls are wearing the cloth mask. We do like the external surface is the dirty side of the mask, so that it is folded and put in a bag. If it's dangling on a lanyard, it is then the inside and the outside dangling around, and potentially, I know Mrs. Blackadar is also thinking they're playing, if it's their turn eventually on the play structure, and it's the forest and there's twigs, there's just the danger part of it as well. For myself, it's then the mask itself isn't being properly cared for. So my ideal is the mask is taken off as per the doffing and then put in a baggie. I really like the mitten clip on the inside of, even if their gym uniform doesn't have pockets, it can be clipped and put on the inside of their shorts with a mitten clip. And that way it's in their baggie, it's clean, and it's out of sight to fall off, and then taken out of the baggie and it's still clean. Because once the face part is touched, of course your mask is no longer usable, they have to wear their second mask that they've brought and don a second mask. So if you can watch the Schoology video that I made, that might give you some ideas. Of course, the other option would be, you could put on a lanyard. We are not recommending they pull it down and wear it around their neck. That's not a good option. Again, the mask becomes contaminated. The mask is only as good as it's worn to protect against the viruses.
Great. And then Christine, a couple of questions around the specifics for shoes, and maybe as you're talking about that, you could also talk about bringing things to school and taking them home, and what should stay and what needs to be brought back and forth every day.
That's an interesting question. So specifics with shoes, basically they're going to be coming in their outdoor shoes, and then when they arrive, if they're an older student and arriving between 8 and 8:20, that's where that 20 minutes will come in. Well, they will have their opportunity to take their shoes off and just change into the indoor shoes. The indoor shoes or black shoes will be staying at school. It is going to be looking a little different from middle senior school, and Ms. Marchand and I talked at length about this. My preference is, and I think it's better for young children, that some of their items stay at school. So when I was thinking all of this through, I thought, you're not going to want a pencil case going back and forth, because it won't take very long for your younger daughter to pull out the pencil case and all of a sudden it's on your dining room table. So items like that, for grades 1 to 3, and this is also for their shoes, they are still using their cubbies. And our wonderful teachers in junior school, there's been enough cubbies that I think in most of the classes, they're actually skipping a cubby so there's space between your girls. I'm sorry, that's my phone. I'm sorry about that. I'm going to turn it off. So shoes are going to be staying at school other than the outdoor shoes. And then there's going to be items, for instance, that stay at school. So for instance, school supplies, we don't want those going back and forth. Something like their math workbook for EDM might be going back and forth, just because that's a sort of a different item. And then we are going to be using cubbies. Eventually the grade 4 and 5 girls will get to use lockers, not right now. So we have other options in terms of where they're going to be putting their things. Also, because there is going to be an increased emphasis on technology, those backpacks are going to need a place where they can slide in their laptop or their iPad. And then we'll also have a system of where to making sure that those items are kept safe during the school day as well. So some of it will look very much the same, but we will have more items at school, not going back and forth. And the teachers have systems in place in terms of additional storage that the girls can use that is all labeled individual. We've even in one of the classrooms gone back to the slightly older fashioned desks where the desks will all be assigned and they'll have a space inside the desk for their own things. So it's an area that has been very carefully thought of. And if I haven't hit your shoe question quite yet, you can just put another question in the chat and then I will try to answer more thoroughly.
We also have a question about gym uniforms, Christine.
In terms, so
school, do they go back and forth?
So they are not, that's a really great question. They are not changing for gym. So for instance, if they have gym on that day, they need to wear their gym uniform. We have taken that layer out right now because it just involves possibly uniform on the floor, uniform getting mixed up. And so the preference is they wear their gym uniform. The younger girls, that summer uniform has been designed so they can exercise in it. So we're going to see less changing. The gym uniform is going to be on their bodies. So we also suggest that for the younger groups of children that you send in, and your homeroom teachers are going to be communicating with you about that, that you have a change of uniform at school, because we sometimes have to get them to change if there is a mishap during the day, usually with their lunches.
Okay, that's great. So we are at the end of the time for the Q&A. What we're going to do, some of these questions that are in the chat, we're going to answer you individually. Any questions that haven't been answered, we're going to update them on the frequently asked questions document. And if you have any other questions, you can feel free to post those to Schoology. Just as, month-long option. Yes, so if you go to the parent portal, and I'll repost these links, so I'll do it on Schoology so you can easily get to your individual pages. You'll see all the information for the Bistro meal plans. There are two. There's a 1-month version and then the year-long version, and all the pricing and the details are there. So just to conclude, we have postponed our at-home learning information session, as James mentioned, just so that we're able to sort of take an individualized approach to that. So we will be in touch about the details on that. The next orientation session is our on-campus orientation, Tuesday, September 8th. For the junior school, it's from 9 until 10. We're asking students to come between 8:30 and 9. You'll arrive in the main parking lot where you'll be greeted, and we will direct the girls onto the field where they'll meet their teacher and other students in their class. This is all new students are, we hope, coming. We've also invited returning students as well. It's an opportunity for them to kind of get familiar with some of those new routines that are in place. If returning students are coming, they do need to register, just so we confirm kind of who's in the building, just from a public health best practices standpoint. I will post that link as well, but we hope that you'll be able to join us for the on-campus orientation on Tuesday, and then full day on Wednesday.
Very much, Jennifer, and thank you all for attending this morning. I realize there are questions that have been left unanswered, but please do reach out individually and check the website for all the different frequently asked questions that have been asked. There's a lot of information on there. Have a lovely, lovely rest of the day. And again, we're so excited to be seeing you all back in person next week. Thanks very much. Take care.